Well, the project for today is another little Briggs and Stratton Model Y engine. They use these on a lot of washing machines. They had a kickstart. I kind of started this video late because this engine was really tough shape. I wasn't sure if it's going to be worth saving or not, but I'm going to do the best I can with it. It's a little Briggs and Stratton Model Y. Model Ys were made from August of 1931 to September of 1939. So it's 87 years old. It's 1/2 horsepower at 1900 RPMs. It's got a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 inch bore by 2 1/4 inch stroke, so it's a square engine. That amounts to 8.9 cubic inches. Now this piston was stuck solid in the cylinder. It had water get in the cylinder. It was terribly rusty in here. I had to drive the piston out with a block of wood. Of course, the rings were stuck on the piston, but I used some heat with a propane torch, and I've got the rings loosened up. I've done these before, these old rusty engines, and you usually end up breaking the piston rings. So I just used the heat from a propane torch and heated this up. Kind of burnt that carbon out of there, and it worked out really well. I'm not going to take these rings off. This engine is just for fun. It's not going to do any work anymore, so this should be fine. But when I drove the piston out, I should have had a little larger block of wood, because I kind of crushed this down a little bit, but I don't see any cracks or anything in it. It'll just have a little bit lower compression ratio. I mashed that down a little bit right there on the top of the piston. This bore was really rusted and pitted. You probably can't see it there, but I did kind of a hillbilly repair on it. I cleaned all the rust out of it with a coarse sandpaper, and then I coated the whole inside of it with some 2-part epoxy. I'm not going to use any name brands here, but all you guys fixing stuff, you know what I used. I've used this before on engines, and it's worked out pretty well for something that's not going to run a whole lot. So I let that epoxy cure for 24 hours. Then I used another hone and honed it out. It turned out pretty well. It's nice and smooth. I'm sure this engine's going to smoke when I start it up, but who cares? To properly fix this, it should have been bored oversized with an oversized piston. But where are you going to find an oversized piston to fit this engine that's 87 years old? The valve seats, of course, were pitted. Both valves were stuck. I had to use a lot of penetrating oil and a lot of patience to get them out. But I did manage to save the valves. And I've got an old-fashioned seat refinishing tool. I've used it before. It works pretty good. But what there is there's a pilot that goes in here, fits down in the, well, I got it together wrong. This pilot comes out, and this tool goes in there like this. It's got carbide cutters in here. And then this handle screws in the top here. And you insert this down into the valve guide. And you turn it. And this will cut a new seat. And it does a good job. You can see how much shinier that is. I cleaned that seat up real well. You can see the shine on the seat there. It doesn't take very much. I'll do the same thing with the intake side. That's the exhaust side, this is the intake. But there's no breaks or cracks or anything on this engine, so I thought it was worth trying to fix up. That's kind of a handy tool. If you see these laying around in some old antique store or antique tool swap meet, pick yourself one up. It works real well. Now I'm going to grind the valves. I've got a Sioux valve grinder, so I'll touch the valves up, and then I'll use lapping compound and lap them in for the final assembly. I haven't had one of these apart in quite a while, one of these little Briggs engines, but I looked and looked for the timing mark on the crankshaft gear. Well, lo and behold, their timing mark is right here. I knew there had to be a mark, but it's not on the gear, it's on the crankshaft itself. And I put a little white dot on there. So when I reassemble this engine, those two white dots will be aligned. This time's your camshaft. And it's got to be timed correctly or it won't run. If it's like that, it's not going to run. If it's like that, it's not going to run. That's how it's supposed to look when you assemble the engine. So this engine's coming along. Kind of a fun project. It did have the brass name tag on it. Probably won't be able to see it. But it says here Model Y, serial number 128256. And it's a type 60148. So that's where we're at. Hopefully next time we can set up the valve grinding machine and I'll do a video of the grinding of the valves. Thanks for watching. If you got any questions or comments, add them below. That's all for today.